Hey, I'm Jason. Today in the lab, we managed to find an even bigger fastener. What I've got over here is a hydraulic bolt tensioning machine, and we're gonna tighten some really huge fasteners. But I brought the expert with me. I'm gonna introduce Phil.
Hey Jason, I brought you a gift.
Awesome.
This is an M64 bolt.
Wow, look at this thing. All right. So what is this kind of thing used for?
So these bolts, we see them in wind power and oil and gas. This one specifically is from a wind turbine.
Nice.
So this will be used to join the tower sections together as they build the turbine.
All right, so we're gonna tension this bolt. How does that differ than applying torque to it?
Correct. So for this, I actually brought this nice little gadget along with me. Have you ever seen one of these before?
Yeah, I think I have actually, yeah.
Yeah, this is called a Benford bolt.
Nice, all right.
So traditionally with torque, we use torque to create a clamping force.
Yeah, we just twist the nut and the clamping force builds up, right?
Exactly. So with a hydraulic tensioner, we're going to use hydraulic pressure to stretch the bolts to exactly the load we want, and then we can run the nut down free of friction and get our exact load that we want in our joint.
All right, so 4 newtons of force. That's a little, we're going to generate a little more than that here.
Yeah, so...
yeah, how about this bolt? What's this capable of?
So this bolt can hold over 500,000 pounds force.
500,000 pounds, so this could pick up a 747 aircraft?
And a little bit to spare.
Wow, all right, this is awesome. All right, so you're gonna demonstrate this unit for us, hydraulic tensioning. This thing has a few more features. You told me about smart tensioning. What does that mean?
Yeah, so this tensioner actually has a pressure sensor built into the tool here. It also has a torque and angle transducer so we can measure the rotation of the nut and the clamping force.
All right, awesome. All right, well, hey, let's fire up the pump and let's stretch some bolts.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so it looks like we're all set up here. I think we're ready to tighten this bolt. Phil, can you give us a little bit of a rundown of what's happening inside of this machine when we do this tightening?
Exactly, so we need to thread the tensioner onto the stud here.
Okay.
So that's why we have this amount of bolt sticking out above the nut.
I got you, yep.
So we're gonna use the battery tool at the top to run the tensioner onto this stud.
Okay, so that's gonna thread down onto here. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we'll move the tool down into position. Take the battery tool at the top here. And make sure I'm in forward, and then run the tensioner onto the bolt.
All right, so now you're engaged.
Exactly. So now we're engaged. We can take our hand controller, which the menu should look quite familiar to you.
Yeah, it looks a lot like the PF8 screen.
So first thing we're gonna do is go into tasks. We're gonna do a batch assembly so we can tighten these 7 bolts that we have here. We're gonna select M64 in the lab stage 1. First thing the controller is going to ask us to do is scan the tower section ID. Tower section ID is our unique identifier that ties all of the results to this flange. So I'm going to activate the barcode scanner on the back of the hand controller. We're going to come in and scan the barcode. I can also scan bolt batch data, flange location, and any other identifiers that the customer might require. Let's move forward. We've got to tell it how many bolts we've got in our batch. Here we have 7. So it says 7 on the screen there, so I can move forward. Last check, M64 in the lab stage 1, 0 of 7 bolts tightened. Move forward, and here we have our flange. So I'm on bolt number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna tell the controller which bolt I'm on, which is number 4. Move forward. Position tool on the bolt, it's on bolt number 4, move forward. Now I can run my procedure with the tool. I've got 3 identifiers here. I've got pressure, torque, and angle that I need to get green lights on to get a good tightening. Operator guidance has come up at the bottom. So when I pull the trigger, we're gonna see the pressure go up. I'm gonna rotate our click wrench until the nut is seated. Just put a small amount of force on there.
Okay.
Now it is seated and it's ready to go up to our full pressure.
Nice, okay.
Do you want to have the honors?
All right, yeah. So we're gonna tighten this bolt with a hydraulic piston.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it. I just pull the trigger?
Pull the trigger.
All right.
So once we get up to 1,000 bar, which is our target for this test, we're gonna get a green light at the top here.
Okay, yeah, I see the pressure climbing and the load climbing.
Exactly. And then once you hit 1,000 bar there, we can now rotate the nut down to the joint face.
All right, so I just turn this like this?
Yep.
All right.
And you got all green lights.
All green
and
lights.
You let it go.
Nice, there we go. Okay, tightening, that was it?
Excellent, that's all you have to do.
That was easy. Awesome, all right. So now we got a few more bolts to do, but man, that's a really cool tool right there.
Yeah, it does all the things you need to do to make sure you have data captured in your joint, make sure you're clamping that flange together properly the first time.
Nice, all right, the power hydraulics, awesome. All right, so there we have it. We tightened the M64 fastener. Man, this has gotta be as big as it gets.
Actually, no. Offshore wind turbines are now using M95 and M100 bolts.
Wow, that's huge. I don't think I could lift a bolt that big. All right, so how about just this bolt? If I were to use a wrench to tighten this bolt, how big of a wrench were we talking about here? A 20-foot wrench, a 30-foot wrench?
Well, let's imagine your body weight on the end of maybe a 100-foot wrench.
Wow.
Might get us in the ballpark.
All right, I don't have a 100-foot wrench with me here today, so we're definitely gonna need a machine like this. All right, so we talked about hydraulic bolt tensioning, smart tensioning, the features of being able to measure the pressure and therefore the tension that's happening in the fastener. Really a compact unit. We're talking about tightening with a massive wrench. This is a pretty compact power source. Pretty impressive machine you brought with us today. All right, thanks a lot, Phil. I appreciate it. All right,
thanks, Jason.
We'll see you next time.